Against the Ropes podcast.
Contra las cuerdas. Against the Ropes podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR podcast. Gio Garcia here alongside Christian Mosqueda. Back for another episode. Big heavyweights. We're on 309, I believe. 308 maybe. Losing count, man. Losing track. But, we're back in business a little earlier than usual in the week. Have a busy week ahead of us. But, we must talk about the interesting fights last weekend. Not much of a build up to it, Chris. An $80 pay-per-view right after the $25.99 mega card, by Turki Al-Sheikh and Co. Not a lot of noise around this one, but turned out to be controversial. So we got to talk about it, Chris. Welcome back.
Yeah, you said it, Joe. Controversial, man. If you would have said that Tank Davis was going to take a knee and get a draw before this fight, I would have been, you're crazy, man. Boxing is unexpected, but I don't see that happening. But, that's how it goes, man. Give me your thoughts on the whole event, Gio.
Yeah, hold on, man. Hold up. I got something in my eye. Oh, shit.
Sticking it.
I got something in my eye. No, man. Let's before we get into that, shout out to Clyde. Clyde was I know he was tuned in. He was texting me during the fight. So we'll break it all down, but let me get a towel real quick, Chris. Hold up. Time out. Let me get a towel. No, man, hey, I do want to talk about this right here, man. Look, because Turki Al-Sheikh, as I said at the beginning of the show, we had a huge card February 22nd, Riyadh season. That was in Saudi Arabia. However, we're getting another massive event in New York, Chris. We kind of touched on it in the past couple weeks, but there's been another fight that has been added. You see it right here. Lopez versus Barboza. It's been added to the Ryan Garcia, Rolando Romero main event. Undercard, Devin Haney, and Jose Ramirez. And Teofimo Lopez now also on the undercard against Arnold Barboza Jr., who just defeated Jack Catterall in Manchester, England. Earns his spot. He's been calling Teofimo out for years and years. Finally gets that opportunity. This event is supposed to be free in Times Square, and it's supposed to be free to the public. So give us your thoughts, Chris. Another very good fight added to this card that was already good. It was already going to be, in my opinion, entertaining because of the build-up, and that screen that you guys were looking at there was the official presser is kicking off tomorrow, actually, in New York. Should be interesting with obviously Ryan Garcia there. Rollies, obviously we know they've been beefing for years, and them and Haney there as well. Now Teofimo and Barboza add that to the mix, so should be interesting.
No, you said it, Gio. Again, when you hear the names Garcia, Romero, when you hear Haney, these are names that revolve around the boxing world. You may not feel like those fights will be competitive. But like Big Bro said, those fights are going to be, entertaining. The build up, the trash talk, everything that goes on social media, that's going to be entertaining. But now that you added, Teofimo and Arnold Barboza, obviously, no, there's no secret here. It's a fight that Arnold, our boy, has been asking for a while. I know that you're a big fan of Teofimo Lopez as well. Nice guy, controversial inside, outside the ring. But that one adds a whole lot of competitive juices, man. I know there's a lot of people in our chat that are going to favor Teofimo. There's other people that are going to favor the discipline of Arnold Barboza Jr. I mean, you can make a point for each one, Gio, but man, to bring a card to New York, I said it when I went to Saudi Arabia. Beautiful country, beautiful venue, but they got to bring some of these fights back to the States where fans are really built in to the sport. So I'm excited for this one, Gio. Man, again, just to build up, I think we're going to get a little bit of everything, competitiveness and some trash talking in the press conference.
The press conferences are probably going to be more entertaining than these fights, says Big Bro. Sliding counter says Theo and Barboza should definitely be the main event on the card. Do you agree with that, Chris? Obviously we got Garcia, Romero. Garcia, the biggest name on this card. We got Haney, Ramirez, but this probably the should be the more competitive fight in my opinion. So, what are your thoughts on that? Obviously, the star power of Ryan Garcia, especially after the controversy. This is his return to the ring. Kind of tough to push him down to an undercard of this magnitude, but nonetheless, Teofimo Barboza, Chris, should this be considered the main event or at least the most important fight in this card?
It's definitely the most competitive, Gio. It definitely has more bad blood, more true bad blood. Of course, all the other guys have, they got some storylines and stuff, but it seems like they've been more homies, more friends the last couple of years. This one truly has, just that competitiveness. Obviously, Teofimo was an excellent fighter. He's got a ring belt. He's done it up into this position. He's also lost. So again, there's a lot of, what could happen in this fight. But I know our boy is gonna be mad at me when I say this, but I disagree. I think the star power is what you stay for. At the end of events, Ryan Garcia, inside and outside the ring, he's been controversial. He's won with the fans. He's lost with the fans. He's won over a lot of them on social media. He's lost them at the same time. So again, I think he brings the numbers. Again, I think Teofimo and Arnold will steal the show. The winner of that fight will steal the show. But as of right now, the main event has to be Ryan Garcia, even though we know what's going to happen in that fight.
All right. So
what do you think, Gio? You tell me. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think anytime Ryan Garcia fights, he should be the headliner. Unless, we came up with that, kind of fantasy scenario of a huge card for 2025. I mentioned him and Canelo on the same card. Obviously, Canelo would be the A side, but I can't think of too many other names where Ryan would be on the undercard. It is what it is. Obviously, I think Teofimo's a better fighter, but popularity wise, Ryan Garcia 1,000% should always be the headliner. Now, in this event, it says that the LA press conference will be next week, March 10th. So we'll see if we can make our way out there. But those are going to be fire, Chris. Garcia, Romero beefing, Haney. Ramirez is a quiet guy, but Haney's going to be taking shots at the other guys and his dad as well. And I would assume Lopez is going to take shots at everyone. So should be an interesting event. Let's see what else they end up putting on here, because we know those Turkey cards are usually stacked from top to bottom. So I'm excited to see if they announce any other fights on here. Clyde says, I just want to see Ryan get demolished. He says.
Clyde is not a Ryan fan. Again, Ryan divides people. You could, some people will love him, some people hate him. Again, it makes it for an intriguing, event. Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like there's going to be a lot of names that are going to attach themselves to this card. Again, that star power, even though you're on the undercard, even if you're the Teofimos or the Arnold, you're gonna walk away with a bunch of new fans, new names, just because the Ryan Garcias of the world, they bring in, all these guys that normally don't watch boxing. So again, you got to give respect where respect is due. Ryan is the A side, and yeah, man. Again, I'm not saying that Teofimos or the Barbosas can't beat him. I'm pretty sure on a really good night, a given night, they will. They can outbox him. But Brian does have that star power. So again, I'm excited for this fight. It's got a lot of narratives, Gio. It's got a lot of things that can definitely elevate any of these other guys, a little bit closer to him and star potential. But yeah, man, it's a good mixture of boxing fans and casual fans that are going to win on that night.
Haney versus Ramirez is going to be a snooze fest, says Big Bro. The styles of Teo and Barboza I don't see meshing well to give us a good, exciting fight. He says it's interesting that it's going to be free to the people in Times Square. So if you're out in New York, better get there early, man. Try to get yourself a spot. I'm assuming it might be mostly standing room, kind of how they did it over here at the pier in Santa Monica. That was probably their trial, their test run. They had some free fights. This was after the media workout for Crawford Madrimov. If you guys remember, Andy Ruiz was there too. Bacoli versus Anderson, Pitbull Cruz, and Jose Valenzuela. And then after that, they had some free fights of up and comers, but at least in that Santa Monica pier, quote unquote, venue, it was mostly standing room. And there was probably a couple thousand people out there. So we'll see what they can do out there in New York. Turkey thinking outside the box. He's flirted with taking fights to Alcatraz Island. So very interesting. Let's see what else he can pull off. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. As Kyle's checking in, he says Barboza has been very disciplined. It could frustrate Teofimo. Yeah. So we'll see, man. He has 2 good victories against Jose Ramirez recently and Jack Catterall. So looking for another good fight against Teofimo Lopez. Chris, let's go ahead and get into Saturday's action, man, because we didn't get to post our predictions on the show, but we did talk about it on the side and gave our official predictions for some of these fights. And here it is on your screen, Chris. We started off pretty good, kind of falling off a little bit. You're at 10-5. I'm at 8-7. All right, I got all my predictions wrong on Saturday. Let's start quickly. Albert Puello defeated Sandor Martin. Close fight, but Puello defended his title. If you guys remember, Puello defeated Gary Anton Russell, who made easy work of Jose Valenzuela. So which one do you want to start with there? The undercard, obviously, of Davis and Lamont Roach. Honestly, I didn't really have much interested in watching these fights. Took a nap on Saturday, woke up, the fights are still on. I tuned in. Don't ask me how, but I watched the fights, and yeah, I mean, I think the controversial part of it made it interesting and entertaining. But go ahead, whatever you want to start with on this card.
Well, let's just start by saying, Joe, you got spoiled last week. You had a buffet of fights, the previous week. I've always said it time and time again, you watching the fight from, the arena is different from watching it at home. So I actually kind of enjoyed it. I was like, let me sit my butt down. Let me enjoy these fights. Didn't expect too much. I felt that they were a little obvious, but we got a little bit of a shock. But let's start with Sandor Martin versus Puello. This is one, obviously, we know Sandor Martin having defeated, upsetting Mikey Garcia. We gave our predictions before the match. We felt that Sandro Martin was gonna, box his way to a decision. After seeing the highlights, after seeing the match, do you feel like it was a robbery, Gio, or do you feel like Cuello was a deserved winner based on what you've seen on the internet?
I didn't even watch this fight, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. I didn't even get to. I woke up right after it. I think I started watching the Rayo fight like a couple rounds in, so I can't even comment on this one.
All right, let me just say, I feel like we got robbed because we did pick San Martin. I feel like he should have been given a decision, but of course, it's hard to get a decision out there in against the title holder in Puello. But I'll just say that you should be at least 9-6 up. You should be up in your scorecard. But yeah, let's move on to your boy Valenzuela and Gary Russell. What were your thoughts on that fight? Were you a little disappointed, shocked with Rayo's output in this fight?
Yeah, so the scorecards for the Martin Puello fight 115, 113, 115 in favor of Martin. 115, 113 in favor of Puello, and 116, 112 in favor of Puello. So split decision, close fight. Now, when it comes to Gary Anton Russell, he was coming into the fight 17-1, 17 KOs, 28 years old. He had just lost to Alberto Puello, same by split. You see it there, one card very, very wide, the other two very close. And yeah, in this case, with Gary Anton against Jose Valenzuela, Jose who was coming in, obviously with a few losses under his belt, but a good run KO of Colbert, and that boxing lesson he gave to your boy Pitbull Cruz. I thought Rayo was going to be able to do it again. I know you chose Gary Antoine to knock Rayo out. Man, Chris still mad about that Pitbull defeat, man. That's what I got from that. But yeah, no, very disappointing in Rayo. Disappointed in Rayo. Robert Garcia even told him in the last round that he was going to stop the fight. He said, "Hey, man, you have a family. You're not showing me any energy." He wasn't listening to his corner, and that's a good thing about having a guy like Robert in your corner. He won't hesitate to stop the fight. He knew that Rayo essentially hadn't won any rounds, excuse me. The one that kind of comes to mind for me is a stoppage with Tanahara against, I believe it was El Camarón Cepeda. He was getting beat down, and he stopped that one early. He stopped his guy from getting a further beat down, and that's why it's good having a guy like Robert, a fighter who's been there and done that. He straight up told Rayo that was it, and Rayo didn't allow him to. He went out there in the 12th and actually probably won that round, maybe. But other than that, it was a shutout, easy win for Russell. I think, I don't know, Rayo seemed off, and I think maybe the size difference was evident to me, because let's not forget Rayo hasn't really fought at 140. I mean, he fought against Pitbull for the title, so it had to be at 140. But Pitbull's more on the smaller side, so I think in this one, he was able to land a few of those good uppercuts. Didn't make a difference. Gary Anton Russell walked through everything, and every time he got hit, he returned 5-6 punches. So, yeah, comfortable win for Gary Anton Russell, who dedicated the victory to his late father, and he looked great in this fight, and Rayo didn't look good at all.
Yeah, no, let me just say, Gio, I predicted Russell knockout, but I predicted a back and forth kind of affair. I thought that Rayo was gonna, abandon the boxing because you're not gonna box a boxer. So I just felt that Rayo was gonna make it a fight, and he was gonna, roll the dice on this one, and that was not to be. So yeah, I would have been okay if I was wrong. I told you, when I was messaging you, I was like, I'm okay if I'm wrong. Rayo's a good guy. He's our boy. We've interviewed him before. Cool guy. He's fan friendly. Always brings, the best fights, win or lose. So I would have been okay with losing, but or not having the right prediction. But I just felt that Gary Russell was a more exceptional boxer. We've seen his knockout ratio 100% for all his wins. So I just felt that Rayo was going to run into something big, and that was not to be. He just got a box. I agree, Gio. He looked slow. He looked not confident. He looked a little lethargic. I did not expect this. If I think of a Robert Garcia fighter or somebody that gets the services of Robert Garcia, it's always offensive. Even if they're losing, even if they're losing rounds, it's always come forward offensive. And yeah, he was just getting beat to the punch. Again, not looking like himself, lethargic again, slow. So not like Rayo. So I hope everything's okay. Again, we saw him, trying, but just and he was making Gary Russell look like a poor man's Melvin Taylor out there, Gio. Again, hope Rayo bounces back. I hope it doesn't affect his confidence too much going forward. But yeah, it definitely needs to, definitely needs to come in better next fight, Gio.
Big Bro says he should go back down to 135. Yeah, and sucks for him because the big fights really right now are really at 140 slash 147 if you want to count Ryan. And that fight against Rolly, it will be at 147. But the big fights are at 140. It looked like Rayo could have gotten one of those big fights with either Teofimo or Ryan Garcia if he decided to go up above 140, but it might be a little too much for him, man. It just didn't seem like he had any pop in this one. You got to give Russell a lot of credit for the game plan, but yeah, anytime Rayo was getting hit, it looked like he was getting hurt and he was getting pushed back. So yeah, he might have to go back down to 135. As I said, he fought Pitbull at 140, won that fight, but again, Pitbull's not the biggest guy at 140, not the biggest puncher either. So yeah, we'll see what happens. As I said, disappointing. But it seemed like he just wasn't really listening to his corner. Seemed like a lot of these punches were bothering him. And we'll see what's up for him next, man. More unfortunate, man. If you take a look at his career, I think you got to say one of the most poorly managed careers. Like, we talk a lot about these old school fighters, but you look at him, he only has 17 fights. He's already fought Russell, Pitbull, Colbert twice, Edwin de los Santos, within 20 fights. So we talk a lot about we want guys to face the best out there. I just don't think Rayo ever really had those fights that most guys do. He did defeat Francisco Vargas, but other than that, these guys typically when they're young, he's only 25. These guys typically when they're young, they fight those veterans. They fight those fights to get their confidence up, to get their KOs up, get more experience. I feel like he didn't really go through that phase. He got in there early against these guys who were champions / contenders. So we'll see. Hopefully he gets to get those easy-ish fights next. Hopefully they don't put him in there against another dangerous opponent. And I think maybe Robert will have a say in that, Before that, he was with the Benavides team. And now it seems like they're beefing. He said in one of the interviews that he lost all respect for Jose Sr. So let's see if Robert can kind of turn this around from the managerial standpoint, just advising his fighter to maybe not continue to get in there against those guys. Like I said, he doesn't even have 20 fights yet. So I think it'll serve him well to get those easy fights, get his confidence up, and then try to make another run for the title.
Yeah, you said it, Gio. He's a fighter that, early on we were wondering, like, why is he taking these fights so soon? We see the age. He's 22, 23, getting in there with big names. Again, it was a little far fetched for us to think like this is a guy that, obviously people will talk. They'll say there's things about sparring, but this is a guy that knocked out Teofimo Lopez in sparring early on. This is a guy that you should kind of, move carefully as you move up the ladder. For him to be put in there with dangerous fighters early on, the fans will appreciate it. They love a warrior, but it's a business. So again, I was a little shocked early on, and we talked about it on the podcast many times where we're like, man, maybe he should have not taken that fight. Maybe not so soon. Once you lose a fight, you shouldn't take dangerous fights. It's a whole journey to the top. And again, at 25, still very young, Gio. 25, not even at the peak of his prime. It's you would think with the switch over to Robert, they were going to maneuver a little bit better. Again, you cannot avoid guys like Russell if they're your mandatory. And again, Ryan Valenzuela is a warrior, so he's never going to shy away from those fights. But I think now that he's had a little setback, completely outclassed, he needs to, you know, just go back to the drawing board. I agree with you. I think 135 is better fit for his body at 25. Maybe 140 when you're 28, 29. Maybe he needs to go back and look at that. And like you said, maybe he's has to go back and talk to Robert and see what are his best options. Shout out to Robert. If he's moving down to Moreno Valley, we'll be able to, chime in and interview him and see what's going on with those guys in that camp. But yeah, man, as for now, Jose Valenzuela takes a step back. I think he's still a great fighter at 135, but he needs to reconsider that 140 division.
Yeah, so once again, Gary Russell essentially winning every round against Rayo Valenzuela. Wins that title. He did have his big bro in his corner. The other Gary Russell. They're all named Gary Russells after their father, late father, and then they dedicated that victory to him. So we'll see where Gary Russell takes it from here. Big Bro says he still thinks Gary Russell's overrated. We'll see. We'll see. He didn't really have much on his resume before this, and that's why I thought Rayo was going to be able to outbox him. But big win for him. Let's see if he can defend that title at 140. Let's see what else we had. Yeah, go ahead.
Man, he was letting him know what he needed to do in that fight. And again, it wasn't the best Rayo, but a win's a win over a trainer of the year, Gio. That's something you gotta be proud of, right?
Yes, sir. Another news, Jarrett Hurd lost by split and retired after the fight. 25-4, one draw, Jarrett Hurd. Probably best known for his defeat over Erislandy Lara. When was that? Let me see. I got to rewind all the way back. Where am I looking at?
I'm gonna say 2020. It's been a minute.
Yeah, well, right here, 2018, he won by split decision. I thought he was a bit lucky to win that one, but if you take a look at some of the names, Tony Harrison, Austin Trout, Erislandy Lara, Julian Williams, Jason Rosario. He really faced a lot of those guys who were some of the top guys at 54. So good career for Jarrett Hurd. Retires. In his last fight, he didn't really look good. His last few fights, I would say. So I'm not mad at the retirement. Just looked like he didn't have it in him anymore. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that Jarrett Hurd was on his undercard. But he is retiring. I think this is a real retirement. It's not like the Tyson Fury retirements. Those guys keep coming back, trying to get paid more money and all that. So big shout out to Jarrett Hurd if he's watching.
Yeah, no, I think Jarrett Hurd was in that 154-pound division where they were good. They were. I want to give that class like a solid B rating. I feel like this 154 class right now that we have is like A minus. But he was in a good little era. At 34 years, again, he might still be in his prime, but the body says otherwise. So I mean, shout out to him. I think he's been doing some podcasts on his social media. So I think he's had one foot outside of the squared circle. But yeah, man, again, wonderful career for Jarrett Hurd. You can say that he beat a future Hall of Famer in Erislandy Lara. So not many people can say that. So yeah, man, good career, Jarrett Hurd. And enjoy your money.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and get into the main event. All right. So we predicted that Gervonta Davis would win by KO. You look at his resume there, 30 wins, 0 losses, 28 knockouts to his name. He's 30 years old already. I didn't like him taking this fight against Lamont Roach, who already had a loss. Two draws now. Lamont Roach, 25-1, 10 KOs, not known for his power. He's 29. He lost to Jamel Herring. But that fight was where we at? 2019. That was 6 years ago. He was younger. Not much on his resume. So to me, this was a surprising fight. He was coming up in weight. So it looked like this fight was set up for Tank Davis to, get that victory, get a KO. Wasn't the case, man. He struggled in this one. At the end of the day, they ruled it a majority draw, 114, 114. 115, 113, actually, a judge added for Davis. And then the third judge had it a draw as well. Give us your thoughts on this one. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about. Gervonta Davis doesn't get the KO, doesn't even get the win in this one.
Let me just say, Gio, if there wasn't a witness protection program, I know that there is one now. Again, man, this one was an easy pick for us, right? We knockout, easy. That's one of the most easy ones that we could have picked, and he gets a draw. Again, he started slow, first of all. He was getting beat to the punch. There was no huge urgency, or if there was a like complacency where he's like, I'm gonna get the knockout down the road. But no, it was his opponent that was just fighting a very disciplined fight, beating him to the punch, looking clean, doing just enough to win those rounds. And yeah, man, we'll get into the whole, taking a knee, because wow, like, how does this guy get away with that? Again, I know it's real time tricky, but you got to call that. But man, disappointing for Gervonta Davis. Again, I know too many people were not going to buy this $85, but they were going to find a way, because Gervonta is entertainment. So again, very disappointing for Gervonta Davis. Messes up his perfect record, and yeah, man, not the Gervonta we're used to.
All right, let's get into some comments before I give my take, because I'm about to go off. I'm just warning you guys, all right? First of all, Rewinding Big Bro says the real Swift about Hurd. He looked like he was fighting underwater. Should have been retired. Roach was robbed, says Clyde. Would have been his second knockdown since when Leo knocked him down, and also not counted. I remember that. That's facts. Clyde spitting facts right now. He also says his second loss since Isaac Cruz. I know Chris will agree with you on that one. Willis got the bag before the fight, says Big Bro. Shout out to Willis, man. One of our favorite refs, but he fumbled it this time around. He panicked. It looked like he was going to start counting after Tank Davis went down voluntarily. It seemed like. You see it there. Look, man, before I give my thoughts, I posted a poll. 380 votes. How did you score it? Only 11% had Tank Davis winning on our poll.
Damn.
14% had it a draw. And 75% had Roach winning out of the nearly 400 votes, Chris. I think that says it all. Watching this fight live, man, I thinking politics, I'm like, yeah, they're probably going to give it a draw, because you can't have the A side losing, right? You can't have the man keeping this company afloat losing, especially to a guy coming up in weight, especially a guy who had already lost before, especially to a guy who's not known for his punching power, especially against a guy who was relatively unknown before this. But let's keep it real. I think Roach should have won this fight even without the knockdown. Now, the knockdown itself, I was very confused, because you can't just go down, walk over to your corner, have him hand you the towel or whatever they did. He's blaming it on the grease of his hair. Said his eyes were burning. And then you can't just tell the ref, all right, I'm ready now, and then continue the fight. Like, I'm not sure if I've ever seen that before. So, one should have been a knockdown. That's clear. He did take a punch. Maybe not the hardest punch, but he did take a punch. Kind of looked around, took a knee, walked over to his corner. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that could have been a disqualification too. Like,
Yeah,
when
I
you
agree.
get knocked down, you're not even or when you knock your opponent down, you're not even allowed to go to your corner. They always make you go to the neutral corner. Never mind them handing you something that's going to help you in the fight to help you continue. So that could have easily been a disqualification. Now, some instances, politics, right? If you guys remember the fight between James Kirkland and Carlos Molina, this was maybe 10 years ago. Carlos Molina almost knocked James Kirkland out, knocked him down at the end of the round. Referee was counting. Carlos Molina's corner, as the round was over, they got up on the canvas as the referee was still counting, and they disqualified them because obviously you're not allowed to go onto the canvas when the action is still going on. So they disqualified him, no hesitation. Now, there's other cases like the Mayweather case where his uncle hops onto the ring, attacks his opponent, aka Sab Judah. They start a riot. Security goes into the ring. Security, police, all these guys are squabbling, fighting each other. And then once they were able to stop that fight, that riot, they allowed Mayweather and Judah to continue the fight. There was like 5 seconds left in the round, and then they continue fighting and no disqualification, right? So there's two sides, of the coin. If you're the A side, it seems like the rules don't necessarily apply. If you're the B side, no hesitation, you're disqualified. So this was wrong for so many reasons. But putting that aside, I still thought Lamont Roach deserved the victory. Worst case scenario for him, a draw. One of the judges still had Davis up. None of the judges had Lamont Roach up. So yeah, this was wrong for so many reasons, man. I don't want to talk bad about that company, but a lot of fishy stuff going on here, man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Again, such a one-sided, I don't want to say one-sided fight, but so many good things going on for Lamont Roach, so many bad things going on for Gervonta Davis. You obviously know it's not his kind of fight. You know that he started slow. How do you give those rounds when you start slow? Again, Gervonta usually is down on most of the fights he's in, Gio. Like, he's usually down on all the cards up until the point where he gets the knockout, and he normally finds it. And this fight, it felt like he was gonna find it in moments, but in others, I was like, oh, it's not going his way. And again, yeah, very, very peculiar moment. Again, I think not excusing Steve Willis. He's a world class, rep, but I don't even think he expected it. I don't think he saw it going. He's like, what is he doing? And by the time he knew it, like, the fight had commenced, and I'm sure if he could do it again, he would do some things differently. Maybe take a point off. Obviously, disqualification is in the rules right there. But yeah, man, the Gervonta's paying the bills for this company, keeping them afloat. So yeah, a lot of the favoritism shown there. It's a bad look for boxing. I agree with the chat. And so yeah, man, I know at first I think he said he didn't want to run it back, but now and I think he knows that he needs to give this match a second go. Do you think do we see it next year, or do you see Tank moving up to something else?
I don't know. There's mixed signals right now. In the post-fight press conference, he stated that the rematch was not next. And then he tweeted, of course, that it was. So we'll see. But let's go to some comments real quickly. They got to punish the ref, says Clyde. This fight was too popular for people to see. Such a robbery. Casuals and non-boxing fans were watching. It's embarrassing. Big Bro agrees with Clyde. Kyle says there is talk that the NYC is reviewing the knockdown. He should have been disqualified, says Big Bro, when he got the towel from his corner as well. Clyde says Ali had it worse and dealt with it against Sonny Liston. Big Bro also states that Mayweather, when he took a knee against Chicanito after hurting his hand. Yeah, I saw that clip. I think Crawford might have reposted that one. Clyde says I had it 116, 112 Roach. Should have been 116, 111 with a knockdown. Scored it the same even after watching it again.
Yeah, I think I had like, four rounds up for Lamont Roach, 824. But yeah, man, it's a bad look for Gervonta. Again, he's I think he's dynamite. I think he's pay-per-view. I think he's the biggest star in American boxing outside of Ryan Garcia. Again, when you think of Gervonta, he can fight for nobody, and people will tune in just to see that explosiveness. But man, it was nowhere to see. Again, his stock drops a bit. Again, the jokes are going to continue on social media, and he's got in my opinion, he's got to run it back and try to erase these thoughts. But yeah, again, it's a bad look. The hair, I think the salon that he went to get, his hair made. I think they were even joking like, "Man, you got your hair done on Tuesday. Don't blame us. It's Saturday. Like you've been to the gym, you've gone running. Like, chill out, stop." I mean, it's been pretty funny, Gio. It's been pretty funny.
Yeah, and look, I don't. I'm not gonna say it's not real or if it's real. Like Amanda Serrano came out and said, "Hey, I had to cancel my fight against Taylor the first time because my hair, the grease on my hair got in my eyes, and my eyes were burning. Doctors didn't let me fight. So there's some people vouching for him. What you can't vouch for is the fact that he took a knee, who went to his corner, grabbed the towel, wiped his face, and then called time in as if he was a referee, Chris. There was memes flying around of him calling timeouts, like as a basketball player, him taking a knee, like Colin Kaepernick. Man, just a bad look. But let's highlight Lamont Roach, man, because I can admit I didn't know much about Roach. As I said, he wasn't known as a power puncher, but it looked like he carried himself really well in this division at 135. He took Gervonta's power. Gervonta wasn't very accurate, but he did land some good power body punches, some good body work on Roach, and Roach took him well. And Roach, he stayed calm. He fought well on the inside. He punched with Davis. He wasn't afraid. He even rocked Gervonta a couple times. Let's not forget that. So, as I said, even without the knee, without the knockdown, I still thought Roach had the more effective punches. He was busier. These are the stats that PBC put. I saw one where the stats were even wider in favor of Roach. You see it there. He outlanded Gervonta. Power punches were damn near even. Jabs, Gervonta only threw 69 punches according to these PVC stats. That's less than 6 jabs per round that he was throwing, not even landing. It says he landed 10. That's less than 1 per round. How do you win a fight landing less than 1 jab per round? I mean, he's got to be very, very fortunate to have the right people on his side and to walk away with his draw. He tried to act surprised at the end. I'm not buying a Tank. I don't believe it. Sorry if you're watching this, but I don't believe that. I thought that was all theater. I think he was very, very relieved that this fight ended in a draw.
Yeah, I think Lamont Roach doesn't get enough respect for this performance. I think a lot, like 95% of people felt that Tank was going to knock him out. Losing a decision to Tank would have been a good day at the office. But yeah, man, I feel like he was the deserved winner. He was robbed of that, his name being called out. Gio, I'm sure a bunch of fans, as he was making his way out, were telling him that he was the winner, and I'm sure that felt good. But it's not the same. It's not the same getting that W on your record, getting your hand raised, seeing those numbers stock up after you get that huge win under your belt. So again, he is the winner in people's eyes, but disappointed, I'm sure, for getting that draw. So I'm sure if they run it back, he'll get compensated, very handsomely. Maybe his high career payday for this rematch if it goes through. I think he deserves it, Gio. So again, I hope that Tank wants to rests some of the ghosts from this fight. It's going to be a little bit hard to, unless he gets a hellacious knockout. But yeah, man, I think Lamont Roach deserves at least that payday. If he doesn't get the W, if Tank comes back better in a possible rematch, I hope at least Lamont Roach gets a good bag out of all this.
Roach looked poised and followed the game plan. Even pushed him back consistently from the highlights I saw. Parried and rolled a lot of the punches that Tank threw and countered well. Yeah, man. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a big
Yeah, we were talking about it with Clyde. How we're surprised. First of all, that he could take Gervonta's punch. He wasn't afraid. He was very confident. It wasn't fake confidence that we found out on fight night. Because a lot of guys talk a lot of trash. They go in there and they fold. Shout out to Frank Martin. But now Roach was confident in the ring, and he was confident even in the post fight interview when the interviewer was like, "How are you able to do this?" Blah blah blah. He's like, "Man, I'm him." He's like, "What? Why are people surprised? Like, this is what I do." He was still confident, and yeah, I think he's gonna earn himself big paydays after this. If Tank doesn't want it, I'm sure he'll be able to get some big fights, man, because of this performance. And he should have walked away as a champion. Gervonta should have taken that L on his record, but this things happen in boxing more often than not on PBC. But what can we do, man? Um, very very controversial, man. Very controversial. I'm still trying to process even what happened because watching it live, I was confused. Willis, like I said earlier, it looked like he was gonna start counting. I swear I saw him put some fingers up and then he just kind of stopped and was asking Davis what was wrong. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was very, very weird, man. Very weird. Of course, um the boxing world was reacting. I saw an interview by Pitbull Cruz. He said they asked him if the draw was fair, and he said no. I think they owe Lamont Roach that knockdown. I think he should have won. Same with Ryan. Ryan said, what did Ryan say? He said this is the wildest thing I've seen in boxing, and he also said that he had Lamont Roach winning. I think Paulie Malignaggi as well. I think most people saw Lamont Roach winning. So obviously, Crawford too. Crawford's on Shakur's side, so he had his fair share of comments about this fight. But yeah, wild, wild times. And as I said, Gervonta he should feel very, very fortunate to walk away with just a draw.
Yeah, and like you said, Gio, this is a fight that a lot of the boxers that watch boxing that are a fan, they let their opinions be known, and overall majority saw Lamont Roach winning. And again, Gio, the fighters like Gervonta Davis, like the Mike Tysons, they have power. You really got to take them out of the game plan. You really got to make them uncomfortable. And again, the Mike Tyson, the Gervonta, they can switch the fight with one punch, but when they see that the wave is not going their way, that's where they get frustrated. And again, shout out to the Lamont Roaches, shout out to the Butcher Douglas. They just slowly start to take the game plan away, and that's exactly what Lamont Roach did. So again, if the chat is right, Big Bro saying that Shakur's ready to give him a payday there, a rematch bout. I think he deserves it, man. Again, fighters don't stay in the sport forever, so hopefully they can maximize on these opportunities. And if you didn't get the decision that you deserve, at least get that payday, man. At least get that back. So, shout out to Lamont Roach for making a believer at least out of us this week around.
Yeah, I didn't mind getting this prediction wrong. I thought they were going to cheat him out, period. When I read 115, 113 Davis, I was like, oh, man, here we go again. I thought they were probably going to give another judge give it to Roach and then another one to Davis and have it a majority or a split in favor of Davis. But, man, yeah, I want to watch this one again. Roach looked really good, and Davis never really looked like he built up any type of momentum. Roach was able to push him back when it looked like Davis was trying to come forward. Davis was arguing with his corner too. He was telling him to relax. In one of the rounds, when the camera was on them and the mics, he was telling them to listen to him. So yeah, there was just a lot going on there. And unfortunately for Roach, man, even if the rematch happens, I don't know if he'd be able to duplicate this same game plan and this same style and this same type of fight. And even if he does, Chris, I don't think they would still give him the fight, even fighting like this. So, man, that really, really sucks for him. They showed him walking back through the hallways to the dressing rooms, and he was just screaming fuck. Like he was just walking down the hallways yelling because I think he knows it. It's very very difficult to defeat politics and boxing, and I don't know if this same opportunity will arise for him again, man. Unfortunately.
If I'm Lamont Roach, I'm like you because of the politics, man. That they gave you a draw should tell you something. That's a W, man. They giving you a draw, that's a W, man. Just take it, man. Again, I agree. I don't know if they do run it back or not. Maybe they see Lamont Roach a little too. Even though he's not a power puncher, they might see him as having Tank's number, so they may not. But hopefully, Tank's ego kicks through and he's able to turn some soup there. But if you're Lamont Roach, like Big Bro said, in that pocket, he was countering well. I think there was one moment where he hurt Tank and pushed him back. So I think if you're Lamont Roach and if for some reason you get that return match, you got to go for the knockout. Obviously, you're going to leave yourself open, and there's a good chance that Tank will get you. But I think at this point, you know that you can't win the decision against that PPC machine. So you gotta go for the knockout, man. Got to go for the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder kind of fight. That second and third. So we'll see what happens. But as for right now, Lamont Roach, good guy in our books, man.
Yep. All right. I think that's all I got, Chris. I don't know. Did we miss anything that you can think of?
I think my Diaz fought, right?
Yeah, he won by KO. Big Bro mentioned it earlier. I didn't catch it. But he did get a KO, I believe, 22 wins, 22 KOs now for Subriel. Trying to get back in the mix at 140.
Yeah, I saw the highlights. I really didn't know who his opponent was. All due respect. But, he gets the job done, stays in that 140 picture. Again, he's, like you said, Joe, he's trying to get himself back in that mix. Those big names are fighting this year with the Teofimo Arnold Barboza. So he wants that bag at 140. I've said it again, 140, 154, hottest divisions right now. So that's where the money's at right now. And, dude, I wonder what Turkey's saying about, this whole thing. Because I know that they've had some back and forth spat, between themselves. But, hey, man. All roads lead to Turkey now, Gio. So if you're gonna make some,
Chris cutting over there. Not sure what happened to Chris, but last thing here before we get out of here, do want to go over the boxing schedule. I think Chris froze. Let me see if I can get him back on here. Oh, he's back. He called for a timeout. Hey, it's acceptable now, man. If you can do that on a worldwide stage in a championship fight, you should be able to do that anywhere. Just say, hey, hold up, man. Hold up. Let me get right, and let me call my own time, and let's continue whatever we were doing.
It's a take time out, man. Take time out. Let's go.
Damn. All right, let's see what we got. In March, Keith Thurman versus Brock Jarvis, Australia, still on. Sean Porter gave you his thoughts on that. You guys can check out that interview on our YouTube channel. Sydney, Australia, March 12th. Keith Thurman. Let's see if they televise that. What else do we have? Eric Bazinian against Stephen Butler, Canada. Nick Ball versus TJ Doheny, March 15, Liverpool. Sebastian Fundora against Cordell Booker. Fundora didn't take a big fight, man. Took the easy route. Las Vegas, Amazon Prime Video, March 22nd. Jesus Alejandro Ramos is on that undercard. March 22nd as well. Sydney, The Zone. Sydney, Australia. George Kambosos versus Dodd Jordan. Sky Nicholson is on that undercard. Kambosos too. He was shooting on a lot of these guys. Shakur and Tank Davis. Michaela Mayer, March 29, ESPN. Brian Norman Jr., Bruce Carrington on the undercards. March 29, Cancun, Mexico. William Cepeda against Tevin Farmer. And Yokawaya's fight was also announced recently on that one. Not too much in March, Chris. A little disappointed, man. Well, February was the highlight of the year so far. April, there's some good fights in April here. We'll go through it fairly quickly. Janibek Kalanhanala fighting April 5th. Richard Torres Jr. against Guido Vianello. That undercard is gonna be very good. I think dang it. Why I think I posted it recently. Lindolfo's fighting Elvis Rodriguez. And then Abdullah Mason is fighting Giovanni Cabrera. So those two are really good fights. Those two are some fights right there, man. So they're trying to stack that up for Richard Torres, who doesn't really have that star power yet, but he's on his way. He's on his way. April 5th, Dillian White, Joe Joyce, Manchester, England. The Zone, Jared Ennis, April 12th, against Imantas Stenionis, New Jersey. The Zone. Ben Whitaker fighting on 420. 426, Chris Eubank Jr. against Connor Ben. Pretty sure you guys saw Ben getting smacked by that egg to the face. I've never seen anything like that. That was crazy.
Oh, you're waiting for me, Gio. You're waiting for me. Yeah, that was crazy, dude. Honestly, I'm telling you, the UK fans, they get promotion where it's not ass, man. They built those fighters up. So I don't care too much about that fight, to be honest, Gio. But those guys, there's some true blood there.
Yeah. Somebody's asking who you got for Ryan Garcia versus Rolly. Chris, you want to say it on 3?
On 3, 1, 2, 3.
Ryan by KO, Chris. Don't forget, by KO. You got him by KO?
Yeah, easy by KO. And Rolly's been on the show, friend of the show, funny guy. Again, getting his money, but I just don't see it, man. I see him probably winning some of the press conferences, but I don't see him winning the fight, Gio.
Yeah, Rolly, friend of the show, as you said, very entertaining guy, but come on, man. That was unexpected, says Kyle. Unexpected, he says. All right. His eye was bad for a few rounds. Should have saved him. Although he says Matias' fight was good. Maybe we got to go back to that one. All right. Hey, I did want to highlight this, though. Obviously, May 2nd, that's a Friday. All right. Saul Canelo Alvarez is fighting on Saturday. Obviously, May 3rd. That Cinco de Mayo weekend is his. So that mega card in New York, the Zone pay-per-view, hopefully is $25.99 again. We'll take it. That's Friday, May 2nd. Saul is fighting May 3rd. Saudi Arabia, May 3rd here. I'm hearing May 4th in Saudi Arabia to adjust for the American market, obviously. The Zone pay-per-view, let's see if they price that one at $25.99. But we're also hearing May 4th, Naoya Inoue is fighting. So that's a Sunday. That's supposed to be in the U.S. and it's supposed to be against Ramon Cardenas, friend of the show. He's part of that MJ camp. He had been calling for this fight. Chris did an interview with him about a month ago. And he said, hey, if MJ, my stablemate, doesn't get the fight, I'd love to fight. He's also one of the top rated guys at 122. So it seems like that fight will be going down May 4th. So we're getting some action Friday, May 2nd, Saturday, May 3rd, and Sunday, May 4th.
Man, dude, that's surreal, Gio. Like we were just talking about that at Joel's gym, 2-3 weeks ago, where he's talking about Picasso getting that fight. But he, just like almost wishful thinking, like if it doesn't get him, and do, he's like, I'm gonna step up. Just boys just chatting it up, Gio. And again, it's he's very adamant. He's very honest. Where he says, like, I know it's the hardest fight out there. He's like, I know a lot of people are not gonna pick me to win. Like that, he's a machine, but he's like, I'm not scared. Like, I'm not scared. This is what I trained my whole life for. This is all I know. So again, very honest, man. A tough assignment, but a life-changing one. That's one that he does. He knows it's gonna change his life, his family's life. So, man, and it's a big honor for sure to fight a pound-for-pound great. So, again, like he said, this is what he's worked his whole life for. He doesn't know anything else but boxing. So, man, I'm excited for him to get his opportunity again. You're talking about it, one day as a possibility, and it's here. So, man, crazy May, Gio. We're gonna have to take some days off of work. Call out Friday, and and not cover any days, man. It's boxing weekend.
Yeah, Kyle says, wow, Ramon Cardenas, hopefully it'll be a good fight. He could be another Angelo Leo, he says. Cardenas was coming off a good victory against Brian Acosta, that fight on Pro Box TV. 20-0 was Brian Acosta. Ramon Cardenas defeated him by UD. Of course, part of that Joel Diaz camp. MJ, his stablemate. And yeah, we'll see. I think this is a good fight for Inoue. A lot of people have been asking for him to fight in the U.S. Why? I'm still not sure why that's a thing. But look, he's filling up stadiums, not small arenas, not small venues, not small theaters, stadiums in Japan. So why would he come over here? It seems like they convinced him to come over here to take this fight, and always entertaining to watch Naoya Inoue. So some good action. As I said, March be so, but April and May, yeah, things will be heating up. So I think that is all I have, Chris. I think that's all I have for now.
Yeah, and again, Jay, before we get out of here, I think it was Coach G. Coach G, she's the one that you told me, like, hey, go interview this guy named Ramon Cardenas. And at first I was like, yeah, I'll interview him. I'll see who it is. I think it was one of those days where I got to the gym. I think he's the one that told me, he's like, who you here with? I was like, oh, Against the Ropes. So like, oh, I met your homie. I met your homie out there at over there in Commerce. I was like, oh, you're the one he told me interview. He's like, yeah. And so I got his name. I box ranked him. I was like, dude, you're fucking ranked high. He's like, yeah, man, trying to get up there. So again, it's pretty cool, little nice. It's coming all together for him. So again, a lot of people obviously will favor the monster, with all those accolades, but anything can happen in boxing. So again, huge opportunity. Can't wait for that. May, people are getting bags. Let's go. Payday.
All right, man, let's get out of here. Turkey, if you want to sponsor us, let us know, man. Still waiting for the call. Mate.
Man, bro, another fight in Saudi Arabia with Carnelo, and I'm still recovering from that one. But hey, money makes sense, man. I pick up the Saudi Arabia language, dog.
Justice for Roach, says Sensei to 24K.
He came in with that. He came in with the comment of the night at the end.
Justice for Roach. I like that. All right, mates. As always, thank you guys for keeping the chat lit. We'll be back next week. If you're new to the show, if you're new to the channel, please sub. Man. We're trying to get to 100K. We're almost there, right, Chris? We're almost at 100K. Almost there. So keep subbing, man. Keep liking the videos. Spread the word if you are a boxing fan. Tune in next week. What are we doing next week, Chris? Are we still doing Wednesdays? Tuesday?
I think we're doing Wednesday next week.
All right, Wednesday next week, man. Tune in.
Yeah. Yep. And over there, Sensei, man, stealing the round. Just like Sugar Ray did with Marvin Hagler, man. Vámonos.
All right, let's go, mates. Shout out to Roach. Shout out to Tank too, man. Just cut it off. Just cut it off, Tank. Just cut it off. You'll be fine. Let's go, mates.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to again what mine is. Let's box bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time on y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.